It's been more than 65 years since 14-year-old Emmett Till, a black Chicagoan visiting family in Mississippi, was kidnapped, tortured, and murdered by two white men who went unpunished. The brutal nature of Till's death, exposed by his mother's decision for an open casket funeral in 1955, helped galvanize the civil rights movement. This week, George Floyd's brother invoked Emmett Till's name while discussing the Derek Chauvin trial.
To me, Emmett Till, he was the first George Floyd. It just wasn't any cameras around. That's the only thing that changed, the cameras, the technology. It helped open up doors because without that, my brother just would have been another person on the side of the road, left to die.
And joining us to provide his perspective is Emmett Till's cousin and the last surviving witness of Till's abduction, Reverend Wheeler Parker. Reverend Parker, thank you so much for joining us. What was your reaction a few days ago when the verdict was read in Derek Chauvin's trial?
If I had to use one word, unbelievable.
Why unbelievable?
When you live in a system and you have the experiences that I've had, and you know what the spirit of the country is, and for this to come out like that is just, like they say, there's two laws, especially when it comes to blacks and whites. We know there's two sets of books, as we say, and for the jury to come forth with guilty on all charges, and it was about as unbelievable as last year when they had the diversifying in the protests. That was unbelievable as well. Things are really changing fast for the old man. And I'm not accustomed to things changing and happening that fast. I know the wheels of justice grind, but they grind very slow.
What does it say to you that so many black people were surprised by that verdict?
It tells me that it really shows how much progress we've made. And we've made a lot of progress. The young people can't see it and don't understand it because if you didn't live in the South in the 50s and the 40s, you have no idea what it was like. So they can't see a big change because they see the spirit that was just magnified during the last presidential and the last few years. And they just said we haven't changed that much, but we've changed. So it says to me that there's hope.
George Floyd's brother, Philonise Floyd, his immediate reaction following the verdict, as we said, was to invoke your cousin, Emmett Till, calling him the first George Floyd. Some might say there have been many in between, but how do you see it?
I see it, I could concur with him because, of course, when I heard and saw what happened to him, I thought about Emmett Till right away. The spirit of the country, that spirit is still out there. It hasn't gone anywhere either, so we got a lot of work to do. And I concur with him. Emmett's story, he was not the first one, but his story was the first that went viral. It went all over the world. It's like an idea whose time has come. And it seemed like God used that time to help hasten things or to start people to thinking and standing up and moving in the right way. It definitely had a boost, definitely did what it was supposed to do.
Of course, in the case of Emmett Till, the two white men who were accused of killing him, they went unpunished, even though they admitted to it in Life magazine a bit after his death. In this instance, the accused killer has been convicted. Do you see big differences between these two cases?
Like I said, we've made progress. In the Emmett Till case, one thing you have to admit too, I think that was the first time ever that a white person was put on trial for doing something to a black person. That was progress for that time. That's 65 years ago, but that was progress in that they had a trial. And then here in George Floyd's case, we got a conviction. And we were surprised by it. And there have always been people of diversity. When blacks made progress or have been successful, there were always people, I tell black people this all the time, of diversity that had the fire in their belly to stand up and do what's right. And that's what it's going to take to go forward, to be successful. And I see people are standing, as Emmett Till said, people stood up that never stood up before.
How did his mother, Mamie Till, how did she sort of channel her energy after Emmett Till died?
Good question. And I think we don't know that because we don't talk about it. But she was hurt and looked bitter and a little angry. But she took that lemon and made lemonade. She went to the Supreme Court. She did all the channels she could. Then she started helping people. She got busy serving humanity. We are put here to serve. She formed the Emmett Till Players along with her mother, and she developed their oratorical skills by having them quoting Martin Luther King's speeches. And she went all over doing it, a busy lady. And there's a documentary back in 1985. If you listen to her, she's had pity for those who had killed her husband, not her husband, her son. She didn't carry hate because hate destroys the hater. She took that hate and she transformed it into something positive. And because I always tell people everywhere I go, hate destroys it. I can't afford the luxury of hate. Can't afford it.
And Reverend Parker, before we let you go, of course, this verdict does not put an end to racial injustice. How do you think the movement against injustice should move forward?
I think I always tell people, how did we get to where we are? Look at how we got here and the things we did. Let's be patient and let's keep doing the same thing. If you get impatient, you're going to take the law into your own hands. And when you take the law into your own hands, that's what some people want you to do. You're going to be a loser. A friend of mine said his daddy told his son was going to go plead his mother's case. Someone had taken and misused, disrespected her. He said, I'm going to straighten it out. He said, son, it's going to change. But what you're fixing to do, you're not going to be here to see the change. Sometimes people want you to get violent so they can get violent with you, and you're going to be a loser in most cases. So
it's all about how you respond to the situation that you're in, as we've discussed earlier. That's unfortunately where we'll have to leave it. It's an honor to have you, Reverend Wheeler Parker. Thank you so much for joining us.
God bless you all. Have a great day and wish you the best.